Back in 1996 and 1998, the Sudanese twice tried to arrest bin Laden, but Clinton also ordered his release. This was reported in Los Angeles Times, the London Times, WorldNet Daily, the Village Voice, and other mainstream sources. All right, this is a quote from Alex Jones. The truth is that the Central Intelligence Agency, CIA, controlled by Wall Street, has been grooming bin Laden and his family over the last 50 years to carry out dangerous projects in the Middle East, Central Asia, and North Africa. Back in 1996, according to the Times of India, the CIA worked in tandem with Pakistan to create the Taliban. Times of India, March 7, 2001. CIA worked in tandem with Pak to create Taliban. Then in 1998, when the Afghans offered to arrest bin Laden, the CIA responded by publicly telling them to do no such thing. They needed this bogeyman for one more action. Washington Post, October 29, 2001, diplomats met with Taliban on bin Laden. Some content U.S. mischance. Through all of this, bin Laden's family was being rewarded with giant satellite company deals, oil company mergers, and some of the biggest construction projects in the world. End quote. All right, in May 2001, the Bush administration gave $43 million in aid to the Taliban. In June, German intelligence, the BND, warned the CIA that, quote, Middle Eastern terrorists are planning to hijack commercial airlines to use as weapons to attack America, end quote. In July, George J. Tenet, director of the CIA, warned Condoleezza Rice, national security advisor, of the imminent al-Qaeda attack, but failed to persuade her to take action. On July 4, 2001, Osama bin Laden, wanted since 1999, was on dialysis at an American hospital in Dubai, where he was visited by the local chief of the CIA. All right, here's a quote from Alex Jones. Shortly after September 11, witnesses came forward documenting for the record the fact that bin Laden met with the CIA section chief for 10 days in Dubai in the American hospital. French intelligence was so upset by what they had learned that they purposefully published media reports prior to September 11, specifically warning that bin Laden was planning to hijack aircraft and fly them into tall buildings in downtown Manhattan, as well as the Pentagon. This is London, October 31st, 2001. CIA agent met bin Laden in July. Anna Nova, October 31st, 2001. Bin Laden met CIA agent before terror attacks. Le Figaro, October 31, 2001. Well, CIA, I don't speak French. Sorry, guys, I can't give you the full source. On July 24th, the World Trade Center owned Larry Silverstein took out a $3.5 billion insurance policy on the entire complex, which specifically covered acts of terrorism. On August 6th, President Bush's own daily debriefing memo was headed, Bin Laden determined to attack within the United States. Also in August, the FBI arrested a Muslim militant linked to bin Laden in Boston. French intelligence confirmed the connection, and the FBI learned he had been taking flying lessons and possessed Boeing aircraft and flight training manuals. Later in August, Russian President Vladimir Putin himself ordered Russian intelligence to warn the U.S. government of imminent attacks on airports and government buildings. Putin later stated, quote, I ordered my intelligence to warn President Bush in the strongest terms that 25 terrorists were getting ready to attack the U.S., including important government buildings like the Pentagon, end quote. The head of Russian intelligence said himself, quote, we had clearly warned them, the U.S., on several occasions, end quote. Israel's Mossad intelligence agency also met with the CIA in August regarding the proposed 9/11 attacks. Here's a quote from Alex Jones. Egyptian President Hosni Mubarak says that he gave the United States specific warnings that something big was going to happen in New York 12 days prior to September 11th. In an interview in December of 2001, he stated, quote, we expected that something was going to happen and informed the Americans. We told them. Other warnings were ignored from Russia, Israel, Germany, and France. On September 14, 2001, Anna Nova News Service reported that German police confirmed that an Iranian deportee phoned warnings to U.S. police agencies, including the Secret Service, about the impending attack on the World Trade Center. A month before the attacks, Israel intelligence warned U.S. intelligence of al-Qaeda plans to attack highly visible targets like the Pentagon, World Trade Center, White House, and CIA headquarters. Dr. Tatiana Koryazhina, a leading Russian economist in Vladimir Putin's inner circle, in an interview with Pravda on July 12, 2001, stated that America was a giant financial iceberg and that a private $300 trillion group working towards world government was going to launch an attack on the U.S. financial system. During this interview, she also stated that the attack would come in the next few months, end quote. Here's a quote from Paul Joseph Watson. An anonymous listener to a Cayman Islands radio station wrote a letter 2 weeks before the attack, which was passed on to a Cayman government official. The letter stated that agents of Osama bin Laden had entered the U.S. and were about to carry out an attack via an airline or airlines, end quote. Just a week before 9/11, WTC occupants, Zim Israeli Shipping Company, suspiciously broke their 30-year lease, packed up, and moved out after paying $50,000 penalty for breaking their contract. Then on September 6th, there were 4 times the normal amount of put options, bets to go down, placed on United Airlines stock. The next day, more than 5 times the usual put volume was placed on Boeing stock. And on September 10th, American Airlines had nearly 11 times its daily put average. No other airlines showed such anomalies. CIA Executive Director Buzzy Krongard was implicated along with a few other CIA-related investment firms as being the one who placed the UA put options, but as of yet, no further investigations have been made. This is a quote from Paul Joseph Watson. Newsweek twice reported that top Pentagon officials had got a warning of the impending attack on September 10th and canceled their flights for the next day. This confirms that these officials knew both the locations of the imminent attack and the method of using jetliners as bombs, end quote. Not only did a group of top Pentagon officials cancel their 9/11 flights, Mayor Willie Brown, author Salman Rushdie, and Attorney General John Ashcroft all said they were specifically warned not to fly. None of them will divulge sources, but Brown said he was warned by an unspecified federal agency. Rushdie was temporarily banned by the FAA, and Ashcroft cited an FBI threat assessment saying he had been advised to travel only by private jet for the remainder of his term. What is my Instagram? My Instagram is actually the same as my name here, Kumquat Kelly. It's just without the space. Alright, during a CBS interview with Dan Rather, Tom Kennedy, a spokesman for FEMA's National Urban Search and Rescue Team, let it slip that they were sent out to New York City on September 10th. Tom Kennedy said to Dan Rather, quote, "We're currently one of the first teams that was deployed to support the city of New York in this disaster. We arrived on late Monday night and went right into action on Tuesday morning," end quote. This is a quote from Paul Joseph Watson. The National Security Agency intercepted 2 messages on September 10th, indicating a significant event was to take place the next day. The messages were in Arabic and stated, "Tomorrow is 0 hour, and the match begins tomorrow." The majority of communication took place between Khalid Sheikh, one of the chief 9/11 planners, and Mohammed Atta, the lead hijacker. NSA intercepts also detected multiple phone calls from Abu Zubaydah, bin Laden's chief of operations, to the United States. Over 30 messages in all had been received by the NSA from May to September, indicating an imminent attack, end quote. Unbelievably, with all these warnings, relationships, covert ops, and examples of foreknowledge, the Bush administration claimed and continues to claim complete ignorance regarding the 9/11 attacks. On that very morning, once again, NORAD and the FAA were running suspicious drills. Operation Vigilant Guardian and Northern Vigilance moved New York/DC fighter planes hundreds of miles away where they performed training exercises involving hijacked planes. British MP and Blair cabinet minister Michael Meacher in the London Guardian said, quote, "The first hijacking was suspected at not later than 8:20 a.m., and the last hijacked aircraft crashed in Pennsylvania at 10:06 a.m. Not a single fighter plane was scrambled to investigate from the U.S. Andrews Air Force Base, just 10 miles from Washington, D.C., until after the third plane had hit the Pentagon at 9:38 a.m. Why not?" End quote. The FAA and NORAD essentially stood down that morning. Any other day, when planes go off course, fast movers are scrambled within 10 minutes to liaison. That is standard procedure and had already happened 67 times in 2001 alone. Why was 9/11 any different?